Greetings, my wonderful jelly spoons. Here is the dog. Hey, buddy. Say hi. Say hi. I can't stroke you right now because these are drying, but here is dog. He wants to say hi. He's snoozy right now. So, today, for this week's episode of Monday Madness, I do not have a great deal of time, and I'm about to go back to a very busy work schedule, so I am filming about 4 weeks worth of Monday Madnesses ahead of time. Like I should be doing anyway, I have come to realise. However, I'm going to do it today. Now, I'm going to do a bunch of short things that will take me a little bit of time to do each, so I can give you some behind the scenes of what I'm doing, but ultimately doesn't mean I have to sit down and research and write an entire video essay like the last one I did on European musicals. Man, it was great fun, but it took months to put together, essentially. Hey, buddy. Hello. I mean, I could basically do a video today, which is just looking at the dog, to be fair. However, I would like to bring you more content than that. So, seeing as the theme of the week seems to be this Soldier Poet King quiz, and hey, I like the song, and yes, I took the quiz, and I got Poet. Surprising absolutely nobody. So I decided I'm going to do some photo shoots today based on Soldier Poet King, and because it's me, they're going to be angsty and they're not going to have a good ending. So I'm going to put together some simple outfits for representing the soldier, the poet, and the king. The poet is literally the easiest. I've got it right there in front of me. And I am going to then shoot some footage. I'm going to do a little bit of video footage, and I'm going to come up with a sort of backstory that links these three characters together as well. And no, I'm not going to be looking too much into the song or the history or anything. I'm going to be making it up by myself. I don't want to be influenced by anything that they had in mind when they wrote the song. So yeah. Alright, let's throw together some outfits and probably some wigs. What do you reckon, dog? Should we put some wigs on? Yes. Is a yes to a wig. From 0 to snoring in 3 seconds, people. So, this is what I currently have together for the soldier. Now, originally I was going to use this jacket for the king, but I found something else I want to use for the king instead, and I think it looks kind of military-esque. The gold does make me think sort of royal, and I have worn this for a Prince OC before, but yes, it is my Chemical Romance jacket, shush. I saw them in the Black Parade tour. I am not sorry. I have also got these, which look a little bit like chainmail, so those are going to be, I'm going to use those as like the braces. And I've got a bunch of different belts here that I'm going to sling around in various places. I've got a thing that can go around the middle, and I've got a sort of loose shirt underneath, but you won't really see very much of that, and some sort of vaguely fantasy-esque bottoms, but you're really not going to see these. I'm thinking it's basically going to be sort of like the top half and everything, and then I have my massive sword. Now, I am not a fighter. I am not a swordsman. I have this sword purely for aesthetic purposes. I am not a great sword wielding fighter. When I fight, I've done some LARP where I've shot arrows. That's been okay from a nice safe distance. I use magic. I use daggers, and I can do some sword play, but most of my combat is stage combat experience, and yeah, definitely not with a big great sword. But seeing as I've got it, that is what I'm going to be using for this fighter. He's going to have a big great sword. I also had this piece of blue ribbon on the jacket from when I was contemplating doing a royal blue prince cosplay, and I have found a use for that. So bear in mind the piece of blue ribbon. Moving on to the poet. Super easy. Poet shirt. He has to be wearing white. I'm sorry, it's just a classic image, isn't it? So I've got the white poet shirt, which will be done up a little bit, but not too much. I've also got a bunch of flowers. Oh, yes, and on my journeys, I found a pack of my tarot cards, and I have chosen 3 to represent each of them. So this is the one for soldier. I chose death, partly because of the image and partly because of the message of the card. This is the poet. Here's the poet. So for the poet, I chose the Knave of Pentacles. Again, mostly for the image, but also because of a little bit of the symbolism behind the card itself. And the one I chose for the king is this one, the King of Wands. Again, partly because of the image and partly because of what the card represents itself. But anyway, so yes, while I was hunting for poet, I found a bunch of flowers, so he is obviously going to have a bunch of flowers. Ribbons and things, fancy leather trousers, and I also found this. And I think this is going to be how the poet's story ends. I think he's going to poison himself. Very poetic, very Romeo and Juliet style. And this is what I've got for the king. So, this is why I'm not wearing the fancy gold jacket. I am wearing most of my Lucien cosplay for the king, but I think it works. So, I've got this half jacket, which is based on a sort of kingly outfit anyway. So, it's half, and it's got lots of details and bits and pieces. And then I've got an off the shoulder. I'll probably have the hood down so you can't see the fluffy hood, but it's an off the shoulder, very regal looking cloak as well. And then I'll be wearing this underneath in case you can see anything popping out. If you can't see anything, I'll take it off. But yeah, I might need to find something to put on the sleeves, but I'll worry about that in a bit. And I also have my crown, which is very cool. And I also found this on my travels as well. This was the first thing that gave me an idea about how these stories could be interconnected. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. The blue thing was my first idea. And then I found this, and it started to come into place. So let me talk you through it. Alright, so what are my ideas then? Well, first of all, as always, I'm a storyteller. I want to tell a story with these characters. So I have 3 characters. We have got the soldier, the poet, and the king. And I want to connect them all in some way. And the first thing that I had, the first sort of clue to the story is this blue ribbon, which is on the soldier, who comes first. So, you know, that makes sense. Now, this is a very nice blue ribbon, and originally, as I said, it was on the jacket. So I took it off and I just tied it around the handle of the sword to keep it out of the way. And when I saw it on the handle of the sword, just resting there, I started thinking about, well, originally I started thinking about A Knight's Tale and how women would give knights sort of a token of their favour, and they would tie it around their lances or their bows or their swords or their wrists or whatever, and they would have it on them. And I started to think, ooh, maybe that's what this ribbon is. This ribbon is from somebody. So this soldier has somebody who loves them and cares for them, and they carry this ribbon on their sword. Obviously not necessarily flailing about like this, although it's a fantasy world, we can do that. They can be a good enough fighter that they can fight with a flaily blue thing. So I started thinking about, well, who would be in love with a soldier? And my immediate thought was the poet. That was my first connection between these 3 characters. The soldier and the poet are lovers. So then I started thinking about the other characters, so the poet and the king and the soldier and the king. How are they connected? I thought that maybe the soldier and the king could go one of 2 ways. And either the soldier has blind faith in their king and will do anything that's asked of them, even to their own detriment, where they are obeying orders that they know are wrong, but they're doing it anyway. Or they could have an ongoing dispute where the soldier disagrees with the king and thinks that what the king is doing is wrong and is outspoken about that, and that ultimately is what ends up getting them killed. Or just that they've been outspoken about it, but they have to obey the orders anyway. So one of the 2, either the soldier turns too fanatical in the name of the king, or the soldier has been speaking out against the king and hates what they're doing and ends up dying in the war that they were opposing anyway. I kind of feel like the second one is a bit sadder, so we might be going with that one. And that leaves us with the poet and the king. How do they know each other? And I started thinking about tokens of love and how the poet gave the soldier this blue ribbon as a token of their love for them to keep them safe. And I thought this could be a token as well from the poet to the king. And the king is holding on to this. Maybe they wear it around their wrist or something. And they've been holding on to this for years and years and years. But then I thought, why would the poet give the king a token? I don't want it to be like a love triangle situation. I don't want it to be like an ex or a secret lover or a rival lover. Nothing like that. The king and the poet's relationship didn't scream romance to me. I can't explain why, it just didn't. And then I thought, well, what other kinds of love have you got? You've got friendship and you've got familial. And the familial one, because hey, apparently I am just a sucker for siblings, that was the one that jumped out to me when I was thinking about these characters. So I have decided that the poet and the king are brothers. And the king is obviously the older brother who has been born to rule, and the poet is the younger brother. So they only ever had happy memories with their brother because they were growing up as a child, and when you're a child, you're sort of naturally shielded from a little bit of what's going on in the world. And while the older brother was being brought up to be a leader and a diplomat and to make these horrible, hard choices, the younger brother was just being a kid and getting to enjoy being a kid. And the older brother did his best to shield the poet brother from everything that was going on and to make sure that they never had to have any of those burdens on them, to the detriment of themselves, which meant that the king character ended up taking everything on themselves, and by the time the poet was old enough to realise and try to help, it was almost too late. So now we've got this young king character. Perhaps their parents died, perhaps he had to take the throne quite suddenly, and has been dealing with all of these people and counsellors and advisors in his ear for ages, trying to sway him a different direction, trying to make good decisions, and has ended up going to war for probably the wrong decisions. So perhaps the detriment and the downfall of the king's character then is that they have tried to protect everyone. They've tried to save everyone. And even though that's a nice sentiment, you need to know that you just can't always do that. And sometimes you have to make a hard decision. And I haven't quite decided how the king character is going to die yet. I think possibly by assassination or as part of the war. The king won't necessarily be riding out with the soldiers. Perhaps he's too young to do that, or perhaps too inexperienced, or perhaps too precious, because other than the poet, there is no other royal left, you know. So the king may die on his throne or in the war somehow. I haven't quite decided that yet. But that is what I've got so far. I will update you guys as it goes on what I'm thinking. So to sum up then, we have three characters. We have the soldier, the poet, and the king. The soldier and the poet are lovers, and the soldier has to go off to war, taking this token with them. The king and the poet are brothers, and the poet is continually worried about the king, and the king is forever trying to keep everyone out, push everyone away, make decisions themselves, and protect and save everyone, even though they really just can't. The soldier is going to die first, absolutely. They're going to die on the battlefield fighting for a war that they know they should never have been fighting. And the king potentially is going to go second, either on the battlefield or having been assassinated or something. In fact, I think it might be quite good to have the poet see their brother get assassinated. Sorry, poet. None of this is going to be good for any of you guys. So the king is going to end up being a good person doing bad things kind of character, and they're going to get assassinated, potentially by one of their own people, and then the poet is going to be left to write down the story and then drink poison and die to join their brother and their lover. Last week when I made my video about European musicals, I said that I never claimed it was going to have a happy ending, and I would like to play that card one more time. I never said this story was going to have a happy ending. Okay. I cannot decide. I can't decide which wig should live or die. I'm kidding, they should all live, it's great. Oh my god, I have so many wigs. Do you wear wigs? Yes. Yes, I do. Oh my god, this is my Raceland wig. Oh, it's so pretty and so special. It's not, I'm not wearing the Raceland wig for anything except my new Raceland, so that's going over there. My Vax wig is up there, along with my, Molly, my Ashton, and my Dalamar/Judas. I could wear Dalamar for the poet, I'm not sure yet. Long black hair. Long black hair could be soldier. I will put this one aside. Which is this one? Ooh, Adavos wig. I don't think any of them are quite blonde enough to be Adavos blonde. Which one's this one? Soft brown. I will consider it. This one's my Peter Pan wig. I don't really want to wear that for an adult cosplay. That doesn't feel very right. Ooh, this is my long, slightly wavy blonde one that I'm going to use for the font demon and that I wore when I had a very brief stint as Alucard. Ooh, that could be quite good. That could be sort of soldier-esque or... okay. This is going to be the king. Okay, as soon as I put the wig onto the wig stand, I was like, yes, this is the fighter. But I am getting elf vibes. So I have yoinked some of my elf ears, and I'm going to put elf ears on this fighter. So this is going to be an elf fighter. I've changed my mind. The king's getting hanged. Don't ask why I happen to have a noose in my house, okay? It's fine. Everything is fine. It was for a cosplay, okay? Look, it's not even tied. It's just rope. So I used this when I did Judas from Jesus Christ Superstar, and I saw it while I was collecting some chains, and I was thinking, oh, maybe the soldier could be, you know, chained up in battle, you know, he could wear chains as a symbol, and I was like, no. The king can get chained up because the war was unethical, and after all the soldiers die and the people revolt, he gets led out in chains and hanged, and the poet has to watch that. Okay, so bear with me for like 2 minutes because I got distracted and I really wanted cakes, and now I'm making cakes. Mixie the cake. Hey buddy, what you doing? Are you helping? I mean, this could just go straight back in the cupboard. So tasty. Alright. I am not a soldier. That is just not who I am. But I think I'm more soldier than king, so hey, we're gonna go in order. We're going to do soldier, poet, king. So I'm starting with the soldier. So this is my under soldier. I'm going to lower you down a second. Hang on. Also, no, this is not the actual Elvish translation of stuff. This is the most pretty looking text I found. It's not the exact Tolkien translation because I kept getting websites that would give me a Tolkien translation of stuff, but it would only give me like it in English letters. It wouldn't give me it in Elvish script, and I didn't trust the one dodgy website that was like, here, have some Elvish script for your engagement ring, and I was like, not buying it. So I found a website that gave you essentially words in Elvish-ish script. So seeing as I'm not being a Tolkien elf, I was like, okay, that'll do, that's pretty. So this should say soldier, and this side should say loved, because they're loved by the poet. So as soon as that was an official thing, they got that and this. And I just thought I wanted to look like a tree. So, okay, getting into soldier. I can't decide if I want to put the jacket on first or the wig on first. Should probably put the wig on. And the ears, don't let me forget the fucking ears, otherwise what was the point of putting all the elvish makeup on? While I was putting all the kit on, I was very much going, oh, maybe I should have been a dark-haired elf. I could have worn my Vaxel down wig. But I've worn that quite a lot for various different things recently, and I haven't worn my Alucard wig for almost anything apart from Alucard. So I feel like I want to wear this wig more. And also, like, blonde elves, man. Oh, I love the Legolas in the Lord of the Rings musical with dark hair, but blonde-haired elves, man. Oh, blonde-haired elves. So... oh my fucking god. Oh, I'm not used to having this much hair. I am just now realising, in a slightly worried way, that I look quite a bit like Alucard. And this was absolutely not intentional. I officially finished filming Soldier. As you can tell, it ended with me dying. Not too gruesomely though, like not too bad. But yeah, now, despite having painstakingly drawn all of this beautiful stuff on, I'm gonna take it off so I can do the poet next, who I still haven't decided what hair to give him. I feel like the only acceptable way to start out this video is, once again, with the canine. Hey buddy. Oh, you want tummy tickles? Oh yes, hey buddy. So today, as you can see, we're doing poet. Or if you couldn't see that, then, well, this is what a poet looks like. I accidentally gave myself this when I was, editing my terrible stubble. But I decided to keep it. It can be a injury of sorts. It kind of looks a little bit like he's got some sort of disease. Why not? Throw that in the backstory. I have my very cool poetical leather pants on and my very poetical Stitch slipper socks. So today, well, right now this is what we're doing. I'm attempting to do poet and king today, partly because they are brothers, and I decided on this wig because it's a similar sort of style to my Hector one, and I thought they're brothers and one of them's ginger and one of them's got sort of greying hair, and I'm gonna have the parting in a similar place and stuff, so I'm digging that for now. The king stuff is all there, ready to go next. But first of all, I'm gonna do the red light picture, and I'm gonna do it with the red light in the poet's face. So he's facing this red light and seeing the world as it is and trying to stop the other two. The soldier had the light to the side of him, so he was like walking into this battle, and the king is gonna have it behind him. So it's the red light, the bad ideas, this stuff coming from behind him, going into his head and trickling out into actions. So I'm now about to shoot some poet stuff. And that is officially a wrap on the poet, and just in time too, because I have this much battery left, so I'm gonna go and charge this and get into my king ensemble. Also, all these characters are gonna have the same coloured eyes and the same one-handed nail varnish, because like, hell am I taking that off, and I only have red Molly contact lenses right now, so, although I think I do have some black ones. Ooh, the king could have dark eyes. That could work. I'm definitely not a king. There is a reason I did not get king on that quiz. I am not a king. But I am ready to film as one. So let's go. By Jove, I think I've done it. I think I have filmed everything that I had written on my list. I've ticked everything off. I've edited a few things because there are a few shots that were just sort of like, if you have the time and inclination to do these shots, and I replaced a couple of them. Like there was a shot I was going to do with some feet, but I decided I did it with a hand instead. It'll all become clear. So yes, this is done. This is done. Well, welcome to the end of my late night Monday madness, where I have now been a soldier, a poet, and a king. And I am not a king and I am not a soldier, so I'll put a link to the quiz down in the comments below because I'm genuinely fascinated now. I want to know, what are you guys? Are you a soldier, a poet, or a king? What did you get? Let me know in the comments section. And also, were you surprised by this? Because I was surprised I got poet. I guess because I just, I heard the word poet and I assumed that was the best one. So I wasn't going to hope that I got it. But then when I read the description, I went, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't hoping for soldier or king, to be fair, so I am wearing half Silas Briarwood and half Lucien right now. Oh man, this is a combo. So I'm gonna go and take all of this off. I hope you're having a wonderful week, my wonderful jelly spoons. As always, if you'd like to support me, my Patreon and my KoFi are open. I am working on the Etsy store, I promise, it's still coming. I'm working on bits and pieces. I'm thinking about selling maybe some robes or tunics and things like that, like simple designs that I can make in different colours, that kind of thing. And of course, if you'd like a bleach paint t-shirt covered in anything that you would like, then that is on my KoFi shop as well. If you'd like a personalised in-character message from a bunch of characters, go onto my KoFi page as well. Basically head onto my KoFi and it's got pretty much everything except for Patreon. Patreon is where it's at because you can get pictures of the dog on my Patreon. It's the only reason everyone's there, let's be honest at this point. I should basically just make it dog tiers, dog tier 1, dog tier 2, dog tier 3. That's what it should really be right now. I forgot to put the contact lenses in, but I figured they're brothers, they can have the same coloured eyes, it doesn't matter too much. And also, my eyes go really blue when I'm wearing the ginger wig, and they went a whole different shade of pale while I was wearing the blonde wig, so they've all got vaguely different versions of bluey grey eyes. I didn't think this through particularly more than just, what can I do without a sewing machine this week? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be putting together a whole compilation of various different things at the end of this video. Alright, my arm's starting to hurt from holding the camera up. I will speak to you later. Have a wonderful week, my wonderful jelly spoons. Goodbye.